Picture this. Under the scorching desert sun of 1953, Tehran bundles of British gold bars slide through midnight corridors of the Shah's palace like secret agents with a license to bribe. Was this a covert rescue mission or the world's sneakiest oil heist? Today we jump into the shadows of gold-fueled intrigue, where Britain's secret gold gambit almost toppled Mossadegh's government and could rewrite the playbook on nationalization forever. Brace yourself. It's 1951, and Iran's fiery Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh has just signed the nationalization decree. Bye-bye Anglo-Iranian oil companies' fat profits. Overnight, Britain's oil titans and Whitehall bigwigs feel the floor drop beneath their polished shoes. Imagine a boardroom full of penguin-suited bankers choking on morning tea as the word nationalization echoes like a rebel yell. No more hedge arbitrage, playing low-risk money games by exploiting price differences, unless you count stealing foreign oil as a game. Enter the shadow brokers, senior banking regulators with Swiss bank Swiss cheese integrity, investment tycoons whispering about offshore trusts, legal shelters where fortunes vanish faster than gossip at a royal banquet, and government advisors plotting covert bribery and money laundering schemes so slick even James Bond would raise an eyebrow. On the Iranian side, Mossadegh rallies public support with fiery radio broadcasts and tea-house debates, while the young Shah paces the marble halls, torn between loyalty and self-preservation. Add a dash of secret gold shipments funneling through shady couriers, and you've got a geopolitical stew bubbling over with intrigue. This is where our story really heats up. So let's tiptoe past the gilded gates and see who's really pulling the strings. Now let's follow the trail of gold, deception, and hidden ledgers as each clue surfaces, keeping you on the edge of your seat. First clue, the mysterious account. One rainy November evening in 1952, a junior clerk at London's Bank of England accidentally discovers an unmarked account line titled Project Aurora. He peers at numbers that don't add up. Hundreds of thousands of sovereign gold bars booked as offshore trust transfers. An offshore trust is basically a secret vault in a low-tax jurisdiction where you stash assets out of plain sight. How did Mossadegh's sworn People's Oil end up funding the Shah's inner circle? The plot thickens when a slip of paper tucked behind the ledger lists Tehran courtiers and generals as beneficiaries, names no self-respecting banker would openly admit to knowing. Cue the sound of your jaw hitting your desk. Second clue, the international informant. Enter Mr. Thompson, a self-styled investment advisor with ties to both MI6 and the House of Windsor. Picture him, tailor-made suit, clipped Oxford accent, and a briefcase that probably doubles as a Faraday cage. He slips into a dimly lit Tehran tea house carrying coded messages about gold shipments arriving in plain sight aboard neutral flag freighters. Think hedge arbitrage, locking in profit by exploiting price gaps, except here the profit is control over a nation's oil. Thompson meets with Colonel Hidayat under a tapestry of Persian miniatures, revealing how British oil giants funneled secret funds into bribery and money laundering schemes so glossy they'd make a diamond blush. Did someone say financial magic trick? Third clue, the sudden disappearance of funds. Just when you think the trail is clear, 200 kilos of gold vanish from a vault in Geneva faster than a politician's promise. Swiss vault guards report that on the same night, a phantom courier truck, license plates scrubbed clean, rolled out under cover of fog. Mossadegh's intelligence network picks up whispers of a Kendi incident, an undercover operation to expose the whole gold game by leaking documents to the Times. But before those papers can see daylight, they mysteriously disappear, leaving Mossadegh shaking his fist at the sky. Who's playing puppet master here? Fourth clue, the coded telegram. In early 1953, a cryptic telegram from the British Embassy in Ankara arrives at the palace gates. It reads, Operation Goldfinger proceeding. Await further instructions. Yes, like the Bond villain, complete with gold obsession. Historians later decode that message to mean launch propaganda blitz plus finance coup plot. Suddenly, Iranian newspapers begin printing lurid stories about foreign money corrupting our heroes, setting the stage for public outrage. Meanwhile, Mossadegh's loyalists scramble to trace the origin, but the cables have been routed through 3 different cipher machines, one more convoluted than your last tax return. Transition to next module. With these clues in hand, ghost accounts, double agents, phantom gold, and villainous orders, we've built a house of cards that's about to collapse. What happens when the final piece is pulled? Hold on tight, because the roof is about to cave in. Hold on to your pocket watches and your gold sovereigns. Now we uncover the smoking gun evidence that blows the lid off this oily conspiracy. Deep within the British National Archives, archivist Jane Elliott dusts off a sealed dispatch titled Operation Golden Worm. Inside, she finds a memo from Sir John Colville, Churchill's private secretary, authorizing MI6 to funnel 4 tons of secret gold through a network of shell companies, dubbed Project Aurora, to Iranian courtiers and military brass. That's right, hedge arbitrage for geopolitics, using immobilized gold bars instead of margin calls. Meanwhile, back in Tehran, Iranian royal documents reveal a love letter of sorts, a handwritten note from the Shah to Lord Beaverbrook, thanking him for personal consideration. Translation: bribes disguised as diplomatic gifts, because nothing says thanks like an untraceable shipment of bullion. Financial insiders later dubbed this method reverse hedge arbitrage. You buy loyalty with gold to secure your position against a nationalizing government. But here's the twist no one saw coming. A ciphered telegram intercepted by Mossadegh's intelligence service points to a leaked account statement from the Banque de Paris et des Pays-Bas. That statement shows offshore trust fund number 51,234 credited with exactly the weight of those missing bars in ruble converted value, just days before the Kendi incident blew everything sky high. In simple terms, they tried to launder gold through an offshore trust only to have the treasure map accidentally emailed to Mossadegh's finance minister. Oops. Then, in a scene worthy of a spy thriller, Mossadegh confronts the British ambassador on the palace steps. With Iranian cameras rolling, he slams the dispatch on the marble balustrade and asks, in perfect Farsi and impeccable British accent, "Is this your idea of a tourism gift? Public embarrassment for Britain, a masterstroke of propaganda for Mossadegh." Here's the kicker. Despite all the gold and cloak and dagger maneuvers, Mossadegh's eventual overthrow wasn't driven by bullion, but by politics. American CIA records, declassified decades later, show that Operation Ajax enlisted both casual bribery and psychological warfare to undermine public trust in the nationalization movement. So while the black gold gambit fizzled in the vault, the real coup played out on the headlines and street corners. In the space of 5 minutes, we've gone from covert bullion trafficking to a live-action political theater. The professional terms, offshore trust, shell companies, money laundering, sound heavy, but the takeaway is simple. When governments play hide and seek with gold, the house always wins, eventually. We've unraveled a tale of secret gold convoys, shell company sleight of hand, and diplomatic gift-wrapped bribes, all centering on Iran's bold nationalization push and Britain's frantic counterpunch. What's the bottom line? First, whenever you see promises of guaranteed stability backed by hidden assets, remember that systemic risk isn't just a Wall Street buzzword. It's the domino effect when a single shaky promise topples an entire economy. Second, due diligence isn't optional. It's your financial flashlight in a pitch-black vault. If Mossadegh's finance minister hadn't audited those phantom accounts, the black gold heist might have remained buried forever. Today's investors and everyday savers can draw 3 lessons from this 1953 saga. Transparency trumps secrecy. Governments and corporations that hide their ledgers risk public trust and eventual exposure. Diversify beyond shiny metals. Gold can glitter, but when it moves in secret, it can also vanish or drag you into scandal. Question every gift. Whether it's an offshore trust or a diplomatic bullion delivery, ask who's really pulling the strings. So what does this mean for you? Next time you hear about an exclusive investment opportunity promising sky-high returns, channel your inner Mossadegh. Demand to see the paperwork, inspect the audit trails, and don't settle for vague promises. After all, if gold bars could talk, they'd spill more secrets than a gossip columnist at a high society gala. Thanks for joining this deep dive into the black gold chess match of 1953. If you found this story as fascinating as a spy novel and learned a trick or two for your own portfolio, show some love. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and ring the bell so you never miss another financial history thriller. Got questions or want us to expose more covert oil era schemes? Leave a comment below. We might just dig up the next scandal.